How are you? How should I greet you? By saying good? How should I greet you? By saying good afternoon, evening. So till what time you can say good afternoon? You can say good afternoon till 4 p.m. So after that, good evening. Right. Good evening, everybody. Today's presentation, just to help you in your professional review B paper, your duty, your role in the society. This is not a conventional lecture. My intention is to, plant some fresh ideas in your mind so that you can think beyond that. I want you to think differently. That is why I said this is not a conventional lecture. Now, when you talk about the society, the first question that will crop up in your mind is, do you need a society to live in? Do you need a society to live in? If there is no society, can we live in isolation? Can we live in isolation? Some say no. Why? It has own reasons. So, this is an important question we have to answer. Question number 2, do we have a role to play in the society? Do we have a role? As engineers, do we have any duty to perform towards society? It's another question you have to answer, right? The first point I want to make here is human beings live in groups. They can't live in isolation. Man is a social animal, said Aristotle centuries ago. Social animal. So social animal means they can't live in isolation. They live in groups. So there are animals who live in isolation but not human beings. Right? So they live in groups. So they interact with people, interact with others, exchange ideas. Man needs the company of his fellow human beings to share his joys and sorrows. So that is the key factor here. So when I ask you, do you need a society to live in? Yes, because man is a human being, is a social animal. I will show you a video now of some apes. Right? We people, human beings, can make friends very easily. We can network very easily because we can talk, we can express our ideas, impressions, which other people can understand. Right? Now let's see this video. This is all about apes. So why I showed you that video is that if apes can make friends like that, we don't have to talk about human beings, right? So we are living in groups, we share a lot of things with each other. What is the society? The term society is most fundamental to sociology. It is derived from the Latin word socius, which means companionship or friendship. Companionship means sociability. It indicates that man always lives in the company of other people. So we have our interactions, we live in groups, so everybody has some responsibility towards each other. Man needs society for his living, working and enjoying life. So I don't have to explain anymore because we have some responsibility. And I'm not talking of engineers right now, but I'm talking just human beings. What is the definition? Society. Society is defined as group of people who share a common culture, occupy a particular territorial area, and feel themselves to constitute an unidentified and distinct entity. It is the mutual interactions and interrelations of individuals and groups. Society has become an essential condition for a human life to continue. So if somebody is put in in an island in isolation, he will die very soon. He can't live. Another definition: a community of people or varied collection of individuals living in a particular country or region and having shared law, culture, customs, relationships, mutual interests and shared institutions. So there are so many definitions for the society, but all that say we people live in groups. We cannot live in isolation. So society and engineers. Is it relevant to engineers? Now as a human being, of course yes. Engineers deal with science and technology. Now as a human being, of course, we have certain amount of responsibility towards society, and while being taught as an engineer do I have responsibility? So I am going to address this now. So engineers deal with science and technology. Sociological subjects not relevant. Is it? We are not trained in sociology. So engineers lack in knowledge of humanity, culture and sociology. Do we learn these things in the university? Did we? So what is lacking in engineering? Training in humanities, training in culture, training in sociology. Is it a curriculum issue? Is it a curriculum issue? We are in your curriculum, whether it is for tour, where are they your ruler? Have you been taught on cultural issues, humanities, sociology? Of course, in my time, of course, I didn't learn that. But engineers lack understanding of the nature. Is it the case? So in our university life or period, of course, our duty is not very pressed in the sociological side. So why society is important for engineers? Engineers are human beings. We engineers are living with people in society. We engineers interact with people, live with the society, and we are part of the society. So if any human beings has certain amount of responsibility towards society, although we call ourselves engineers, we have the same responsibility towards the society. But the point is, we have been taught something above ordinary. So this is why it is important. How engineering fit in, understanding the nature of engineering, relationship with other professions, engineers' contributions and responsibility. Engineering is a dynamic profession. It's not a static profession. It is not uniform practice, varied practice. So engineering, the knowledge we learn should fit into the context of the world or the society today. So these are some of the areas where engineers are performing: designs, calculations, planning, evaluations, management, supervision. So is this the life of engineers? Is this the life of engineers? Do we limit ourselves to these areas? You don't have to. You should not. But majority of us are doing that. So later on the presentation, we will realize what are the things we are not doing, what are things we are missing towards society. You would have seen this: scientific knowledge, societal needs. You would have seen this diagram, of course, earlier also. I'm going to skip this. And scientific knowledge, societal needs, the common area is engineering. Then you have analysis and creativity. Then the most commonest center there is called creative analysis with scientific knowledge, catering to societal needs through engineering. That is the area where you get innovations into the world. Creative analysis with scientific knowledge catering to the societal needs. So that is where you get the innovations. Now look at these pictures. If engineers were not there, it would have been like this. Actually, the first diagram here, or the picture here, without aeroplanes, without any kind of television or whatever, automobiles, access, communication, mathematics. So world without engineers. So engineers are essential component in the society. So there's no doubt about that. So let's see the dictionary meaning of following terms. Science: the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. Systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment, called organized body of knowledge. Then come to technology: the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes, knowledge concerned with applied science. I want just to go through these definitions. So defining engineering: scientists discovered that which exists An engineer creates that which never was. It's creation. Engineering is creation. So who is an engineer? An engineer is a professional practitioner of engineering, applying scientific knowledge, mathematics, and develop solutions for technical problems. So everywhere it says technical problems. So science and technology combined and to do or solve technical problems. Engineers design material structures and systems while considering the limitations imposed by practicality, safety and cost. There you have a clue. Safety and cost. These are two very important two words. So you can't do anything you want, but you have to keep eye on these two terms, safety and cost. Where when you talk of humans. The nature of engineering. Engineering is application of science to the common purpose of life. Now I am giving you these descriptions because I want to explain to you the nature of engineering. Engineering is application of science to the common purpose of life. Engineering is the art of directing the great sources of power in nature for the use and the convenience of the mankind. Now there you are coming to certain point where your knowledge, what you have gathered, you have developed, focusing towards mankind, human beings, right? So what I have marked in white, you pay your attention to the sections marked in white. Common purpose of life. The second one is mankind. Engineering is the art of organizing and directing men and controlling the forces and materials for the benefit of the human race. So the first term is common purpose of life, second white term is mankind, third one is human race. So in our engineering exercises, our ultimate target is human race or the mankind. So that is why we have certain amount of responsibility towards the society. We start from somewhere, do something, produce something that is used by the people of the globe. So that is why we have more responsibility than others. Sorry. Engineering Council for Professional Development. It says, engineering is the profession in which the knowledge of mathematical and natural science gained by study, experience, practice is applied with judgment to develop ways to utilize the materials and forces of nature economically for the benefit of the mankind. You can see, you use these forces of nature economically for the benefit of the mankind, economically. Then new word comes, economically. So that means you can't do as you want. It has to be done economically. What is the meaning of the word economically? Economical means use the minimum amount of resources for that purpose. 31st President of US says, a very, very beautiful statement he made. If you go through it, very interesting. Engineering is a great profession. There is a fascination of watching a figment of the imagination emerge through the aid of science to a plan on paper. Then it moves to realization in stone or metal or energy. Then it brings jobs home to men. Then it elevates the standards of living and adds to the comfort of life. That is the engineer's high privilege. To the engineer falls the job of clothing the bare bones of science with life, comfort and the hope. It's a beautiful quotation. And here it says, it brings jobs home to men. Then it elevates the standard of living and adds to the comfort of life. So it gives you a lot of meaning in that. You have learned mathematics, you are very good in mathematics. What is the answer to this? 1 plus 1? Answer? You all scored the highest marks at the A levels in mathematics. What is the answer? 2. Very simple. In management, 1 plus 1? Yes? Definition of engineering based on management. What is the answer? Again 2. Anything wrong in that? 1 plus 1. So then where does engineering stand? Is it between 2 and 11? Just think about it. Who is an engineer? Can be mathematician, scientist, manager, generalist, magician. Engineer is not a magician. What is this? This is very simple equipment, apparatus in your home is a sewing machine. So any engineering involved in this? Engineering involved in this? So what is this? You would have seen this, you would have learned this. This is engineering. Even the sewing machine also involves a lot of engineering. Chartered engineer. Now you are to be chartered engineers in possibly you are planning to sit for the professional review paper August, September and get through the exam and you want to be chartered engineers. Then this is the definition. Chartered engineers are characterized by their ability to develop appropriate solutions to engineering problems using new or existing technologies through innovation, creativity and change. So I love these words, innovation, creativity and change. Engineers should be innovative, creative and ready to accept changes. Those are the fundamental requirements of chartered engineer. Fundamentals in engineering for the betterment of society. Now engineering contributions to the society. Investigations, planning and design, construction, manufacturing, operation and maintenance, continual improvement. You would have gone through these, you would have seen these things, but for the sake of completion, research and development, and follow-up. So these are the fundamentals in engineering for the betterment of the society. Investigation, planning and design, construction, operation and maintenance, continual improvement, research, development, and follow-up. Now, engineering. Engineering is everywhere. Engineering is all around us. So people often take it for granted, like air and water. They don't realize that. What do I touch? What do you touch here? What do I touch? All engineering. Everything is engineered. Just watch another video. If you have watched Jurassic World, this is behind the screen, some of the shots behind the screen. How these creatures are created. Pistons, pulleys, all sort of apparatus inside the body of the dinosaurs. So even in film industry, everything is engineering. The camera, starting from the camera, everything is engineering. So you can't name anything without engineering. So it is all over. It's an art. It's an approximation. Measurement, estimation, forecast, projection. Engineering is about modeling and simulation. Communication, technical report writing, and presentation. Engineering is finance. Engineering is innovation. Engineering is creative process. This is a still picture. This is not a movie. So there's engineering involved in this. Again, this is a still picture. This is also a still picture. So what engineers do? Now, all these things what I showed you has certain amount of engineering. So engineers are essential components of this world. What engineers do? They solve problems by applying knowledge. Optimize, decide to minimize cost and enhance efficiency. Optimize, decide to minimize cost and enhance efficiency. Okay, sorry for that. When you are dealing with technical things or technical apparatus, there are always setbacks. Right. What engineers do, what we do, right? Solve the problems by applying knowledge. Optimize design to minimize cost and enhance efficiency. Predict the problems and find solution beforehand. Imagine and think new and creative ways of doing things. Creative ways of doing things. This is the word I like here. Creative way. For whom? Engineers do these things for whom? For the society. Ultimately the people of the nation. Whether you do something directly which is used by the general public or not, there may be so many people from various organizations here. Private sector organizations or government organizations or service organizations, but you may not be dealing any service directly related to the general public or society. But everybody, if you look at the end product, end use, it will be used by the general public. So that is why on the pipeline you may be standing here, here, here or there, but your end product, end result will be used by the general public. So just think about it. Think about your service. Engineers' knowledge and work. You are extraordinary. You are not normal. You are not ordinary. You have extra knowledge trained for a purpose. Because when you pass out from the university, you left the school in A-levels, completing A-levels, you enter the university, you undergone 4-year rigorous academic training, and you have extra knowledge above others. Trained for a purpose. Your efforts finally reach the people, society. Therefore, you have a role. You have a very big role. So what is the role? So let's discuss. Different roles of engineer. If you find engineers in all these areas, manager, politician, salesman, entrepreneur, then lawyer, academic, expert, scientist, engineers can perform any of these titles. Role as an engineer. Role of an engineer is more than the calculations, designs, drawings, planning and supervision. Sometimes he plays role which on first impression are not linked to their professional training. On the first impression you can't see that he is doing something useful to the general public. The training received as an engineer is part of the research which an engineer can display his versatility. The training is very rigorous. Training is very important. The training you have undergone for a specific purpose. Do engineers have social responsibility? People enjoy what knowledge or what technology can do for them, while often ignoring that it can do to them. People enjoy what technology can do for them, while often ignoring what it can do to them. Right? Got to understand that. We live in a complex global and intercultural world coupled with a lot of problems. So it is compulsory that engineers should amplify the horizon of their specialized technical knowledge in the field of development within the norms, principles and ideals of ethics. It is compulsory that engineers should amplify the horizon of their specialized technical knowledge in the field of development within the norms, principles and ideals of ethics. Social responsibilities of engineers. This is very important. These are the things you got to concentrate mostly. Ensure the safety and interest ahead of all other considerations for well-being of the public. Ensure the safety. You may be designing a building, you may be designing a bridge. Ensure the safety. So safety concerns are of prime concern. Ensure that society's funds, resources concerning technology are well used. So you can't do anything at any cost. So you see that funds and resources are used economically. So that is the second point. Concern about impact of engineering projects on environment and society. So when you are dealing with projects, various type of projects, maybe buildings, highways or coastal or whatever, effects on the environment and society should be considered as a prime concern. Right? Refusing to work on particular project or for a particular company, violating above. If any project or any company violates above 3 conditions, you must have guts to refuse working for them. That is your duty. Speaking out publicly against improper projects. So this is one of the very important duty of engineers. Blowing the whistle on illegality or wrongdoings. If you see something happening wrong, you can't be keeping silent as engineers. You have to raise your voice. Then professional society's obligation to provide protection for whistleblowers, and professional bodies do have responsibility to protect them. Contributing one's service to worthy non-profit groups and projects. If you are an engineer, if you are trained to do service to the general public, you don't expect returns every time wherever you provide your services to the general public. Right? So we'll have to keep that in mind. There are social services you have to do as engineers. Commitment to educate future engineers about their social responsibilities. You have to train, you have to educate juniors. Anybody who is working under you, maybe directly or indirectly. That is another responsibility of social responsibility of engineers. Voluntarily educating the public about important consequences of various technological and scientific developments. Not only engineers, you have to educate the general public as well. So how do you do that? You can't be standing on the streets and with a megaphone in hand, you can't shout at people. But there are ways, there are methods, there are mechanisms to do that. These will bring recognition to the profession. Now, out of these 10 points which I mentioned, how many points you have followed? Definitely you would have followed the first point. You would have done your design or whatever, ensuring the safety. The second point, ensure safety, society's funds are well used. You would have done that also. Third one also you would have done. Fourth point, fifth point, sixth point, seventh, or leave out the seventh one. There are instances where you can't strictly follow certain things because of certain reasons. I do agree. Then 9, educate future engineers and educate the general public. So there are methods to do that. So if you have your societies in your villages, in your towns, or in your living areas, you can educate people on technical issues. We do have a responsibility on those lines. So with that, the last point, recognition in society as well. So you earn recognition by doing those things. There are certain arguments. Arguments that engineers don't have social responsibility. These are very common arguments. Professions have social responsibilities, but engineering is not a profession like medicine and law, and so it does not have the same social responsibility. Just go through this. Engineering is not given the same privileges as other professions, other professionals. So there is no social contract that promotes engineering social responsibility. Engineering is value-free enterprise that deals only with objects and facts. So these are the misconceptions people are having, and we have not taken any action to rectify them. Take the first point again. Professions have social responsibilities, but engineering is not a profession like medicine and law. So doctors and lawyers get more recognition than engineers. It's a well-known fact. What is the reason for that? Basic reason is they are basically dealing with people. Engineers are a little remote from the general public. They do a lot of work, a lot of thinking, a lot of creativity, a lot of innovations, but there's a gap. They don't directly interact with the people. That is why we don't get the recognition. So there are ways to get close to the people, I will come there later, where we are not much concerned about that. The nature of engineering-manager relations in large organizations. Engineering does not serve a crucial social need which is the basis of full social interaction. So we do a lot of work, we do a lot of planning, but ultimately it is not recognized. If you take any large project, not only large project, even a small project, all the projects that are going on in a developing country, engineers are essential components, but they are not recognized to the required level. Engineering codes of ethics. The first one, engineers shall hold paramount the safety, health and welfare of the public and shall strive to comply with the principles of sustainable development in the performance of their professional duties. Welfare of the public. Then Software Engineering Code of Ethics, Principle 103, approves software only if they have a well-founded belief that it is safe, meets specifications, passes appropriate tests and does not diminish quality of life. Diminish privacy or harm the environment. The ultimate effect of the work should be to the public good. So all in every definition or whatever, it says whatever you develop, whatever you promote should look after the safety of the people. It should not harm, it should not do any harm to the general public. IEE Code of Ethics for Engineers. Now look at these white, pay your attention to the white areas also. Engineers shall, in fulfilling their responsibilities to the community, protect the safety, health, welfare of the public and speak out against abuse in these areas affecting the public interest. Contributing professional advice as appropriate to civic, charitable or other non-profit organization. Seek to extend public knowledge and appreciation of the engineering profession and its achievements. So everywhere, if you take any code of ethics, from any field, it says you do something for the betterment of the public, look after their safety, health, and should be cost effective. This is what basically it says. Modern definition. Engineers will translate into action the dreams of humanity, traditional knowledge and concept of science to achieve sustainable management of planet through the creative application of technology. Everywhere it's same. Why engineers have the responsibility of interaction of technology and society? Because engineers are the ones who create and implement the technology. Whatever the technology, whatever the apparatus, whatever the gadget general public use are creations of engineers. Should be responsible for their own actions and creations because of the impact of their work on social or on society and the people. Should be responsible for their own actions and creations because of the impact of their work on society and the people. So whatever you create will have effects on the society. So basically, I was trying to explain to you why engineers do have responsibility toward the society is that whatever engineers create ultimately used by the general public, and that is why you have responsibility to deliver something which is not harmful but useful to the general public. In achieving that, you have to look into various aspects like safety, economy, and all that, right? Engineering development. Today, the consequences of human creativity in the areas of engineering, technology, and science have reached measures that only few decades ago were unimaginable. Now, world is developing. Few years ago, what we could not expect is happening today. Who thought that? A cell phone, which was of this size some time back, will come to the size of this size? And who thought that the whole internet could be obtained on the smartphone? It was not thought of some time back, but it is developing. So in these areas, say biotechnology, nanotechnology, genetic engineering, artificial intelligence, and information technology. So in every field, engineering is developing and making good things as well as bad things. So all these are human creativity, human mind. Mind can create a lot of things. Engineers are accountable. Capacity and development means power. Knowledge means power. With power comes responsibility. Knowledge implies responsibility. Obligations of the engineer must be of same degree with the level of his knowledge and power. With responsibility comes obligation and accountability. Greatest engineering achievements of 20th century. Nuclear technology, electronics, laser and fiber optics, space exploration, petroleum and gas technology, aeronautics, electrification, agricultural mechanization, imaging technology, health technology, training and research and development. So these are the two areas which I am very much concerned about: training, research and development. So through these two, training and research and development, you evolve into other areas, evolve into new creations. Engineers' impact on society through, now these are the areas engineers are involved in creating new things. Infrastructure, power and energy, environment, poverty alleviation, food production, natural disasters, research and development, education and training, health sector, discovery and recovery. So these are the areas where engineering is going in deeply into venture into new areas. So let's look at the infrastructure. So a lot of development throughout the world, development of expressways, highways, to make it more quick in accessing places. When you come to power and energy, lot of development, you must be knowing all this: hydropower, then wind power, nuclear power, solar power. Preserve environment. During these processes, you have to see that environment is protected, ecology balance is maintained. Poverty. We have a role in eradicating poverty. 20,000 die each day. So as engineers, although we are not involved in alleviation of poverty, but we have a role. This is a picture, you would have seen this picture, taken by famous South African photographer Kevin Carter in 1993, I think. You can see a girl crawling towards the food distribution point and is followed by a vulture. Vulture is following the child to eat till child is dead. So Kevin Carter took this picture in Sudan. Title of the picture is Feminine in Sudan. And Kevin Carter, after winning the award, he committed suicide. That was in 1994, I think. It's a very famous picture. Food. So we have a role in food production, farm mechanization. There are sectional committees, agricultural sectional committee in IESL. So we have a role. Then natural disasters. Tsunami is very famous in Sri Lanka. We have seen this, and I had the opportunity to visit the coastal areas immediately after tsunami. We saw the destruction. We volunteer ourselves to certain activities, certain restoration work, voluntary. Now I am trying to address the point which I mentioned earlier. You are not paid for all the work you do. You must be prepared to do voluntary work. Doing voluntary work will bring you recognition in the society. Right? We did that as a group, as a company also. Then research and development. All these new things are happening, developing from research and development. So all these are done by engineers. Education and training. So people should be trained. Students should be trained. Juniors should be trained, and fellow citizens should also be taught to some extent. Health sector, lot of development in the health sector, and if you see the machines, gadgets available in the health sector now, even without a single cut on your body, it can be seen inside. All the operations or whatever it is can be done inside the body without even a cut. With a small hole, you can insert anything into the body. So all that is engineering. Then discovery, the creation of new things. What I have showed there in the right-hand side, right-hand corner is the latest aircraft, which was invented few years back, Airbus A380, which can carry more than 600 passengers, which is a double-decker aircraft, which came to Katunayaka very recently for emergency landing. That is the latest. And you see Burj Khalifa down there. Rotating towers, all engineering creations. I can show you video also here. Those are very beautiful creations in engineering. Recovery, this is the destruction that happened after the tsunami down south. Of course, we were able to help to some extent, the general public in that area. Different demand of the next generation for engineers, different energy scenario. Secure cyberspace, green technology, which is very popular these days because every building is trying to become green. Ecosystem balance, water availability, these are the areas. Energy efficiency, global warming, then globalization. Engineers' contribution in the primary decision making process is very vital. So the points I have mentioned, at certain higher level, decision making is very important to see that points are addressed. Creativeness, basis of engineering. Positive thinking makes way of creativity. Think positive. Look at the better side of it. Think in different dimensions. Look for wider horizons or beyond the horizon. Think out of the box. So engineers should think out of the box. I want to show you a few examples. Great creative personality in engineering in Sri Lanka. Can you tell me a name? Creative personality in engineering in Sri Lanka. Who is this? Doctor Kulasika. One of the greatest creative person in Sri Lanka. I would like to draw your attention to the photograph on the right hand side below. Dr. Kulasika is on a tabla. He was a musician. What I am trying to get at is creativity. If you want to be creative, there's another area you have to develop. I'll tell you that later. Then I come to a person from India. Can you guess the name? Yes? Abdul Kalam. Very recently he came to Sri Lanka. Scientist, a creator. I was able to listen to him a few weeks back. There's one secret there also. What is that? He's a Veena player. So if you take these characters, the creativity is connected with something. If you want to be creative, you have to develop that. I'll come to that later. You know, Dr. Abdul Kalam did one thing. In 1998, with cardiologist Soma Raju, Kalam developed a low-cost coronary named the Kalam Raju stent. Dr. Abdul Kalam is not a cardiologist or doctor, but with him, with the cardiologist, he was able to develop some stent. Creativity. This is my work. I did my charter in 1989. I was given a design, a bridge abutment design. But the point is, I didn't want to do conventional design. This is conventional abutment. This is a conventional abutment. We have the head wall, the two wing walls, and the embankment behind. Here, embankment behind. This is the approach. You have the bridge beams on this side. I didn't want to do this. I was thinking something different. Then I came out with a proposal. This has same facility like here, but two columns and a base slab. I didn't want to waste material like this right round, so I save all that material. I was thinking, why you should have a structure to support this massive soil pressure? That was the question I had at that time. Why you want to have such a wall supporting a massive earth pill behind it? Why can't you have it something like this? That is the concept I developed. Then I was able to come out with the solution like this, two tapered columns and a capping beam sitting on top and the base slab. So this was used, this was approved, and I have used this in 4 bridges on Mahaveli Rajamawata from Adhikarigama up to Mapakada, which runs on the right bank of Mahaveli river from Adhikarigama to Mapakada. There are 4 bridges. This abutment is used. It was economical, and at the professional review interview, of course, this was highly commended by the panelists. So this is what you have to do. Don't do conventional things. Try to be creative. Do something else. Don't do something everybody does. Then only you become creative. So I can show you some of the photographs of during the construction of one of the bridges. So this is structure, and you can see here this is the full bridge, and this is the structure I am talking of. It doesn't support the backfill. It spills through. Then question comes, how do you retain the material? You retain the material by a natural slope. In the natural slope, the completed bridge. You can see it if you happen to go on Mahaveli Rajamawata from Adhikarigama to Mapagada or Andanigada. You can see these, there are 4 bridges. Very economical compared to conventional abutment. And I made a presentation of this abutment at last year's international conference at KDU, where again I had a very good responses. Then you have 2 brains, left brain, right brain. You all are very good at mathematics, analysis, logic. You use only your left brain. Engineers should develop right brain also, but they don't develop right brain. Engineers must develop their right brain. Dr. Kulsekar, Dr. Abdul Kalam developed their right brain. Now you see on this diagram, what are the areas handled by left brain and what are the areas handled by right brain. Creativity is of the right brain, not on the left brain. You do your mathematics, you do your calculations, you do whatever you want, logic or whatever, left, not right. Right, you can see, you can judge from these, your hobbies, your extracurricular activities, music, all that is right. So develop right brain also. You will be creative. So when you become creative, you feel like doing special things. You deviate from the conventional things. Some creative things. This is a waste mega bottle made into a sprinkler. Empty can made into a spade. Right, the girls, you are making cake at home. Suddenly your egg beater goes out of order. What are you going to do? Your egg beater goes out of order. You have to make the cake. What are you going to do? Anything wrong in that? Be creative. This is called bottle wall, made out of empty plastic bottles. Creativity. In 2012 at Techno exhibition, we did a model of bottle walls. So this is the stall. We made it like that, a sample wall, and it drew the attention of attention of general public. So this was done by Civil Engineering Sectional Committee at that time, called bottle wall. So you can make use of empty bottles to create something new. A lot of interest was shown by the school children as well. This is a tire wall. I'm trying to show you some of the creative things. Tire wall, made out of tires, economical. And there was a place in Kandy Road when the road was rehabilitated, close to Kadugan now, I think. There was an area where it was just subject to a slip and they couldn't find a solution. The solution they applied, tire wall. It worked out very well. So some of the creations, creative things. Now this is a picture. What is this? his hand, painted hand. Now how do you take a picture like this? Tilt the table. Tilt the table and take the picture. These are manhole covers in Japan. Then I come to the very interesting story of tunnel boring machines. You know, most of the things we invent are from the nature. Now you would have seen, if you, I don't know whether you have seen this, at Tumaya project we have the first tunnel boring machine working. That is the first time where tunnel boring machine is used in Sri Lankan industry. Tunnel boring machine was invented by Mark Brunel. I want to show you this video. Now, Mark Brunel, one day he was walking along the harbor pier. Now, good old days, ships were made with timber. So after some time, timber is replaced and stacked on the pier. So he saw, sorry. He saw this, a piece of timber with holes, lot of holes. He was inspecting and saw a creature, small creature, shipworm they call it, drilling through the hole. That was that. Right? He was drilling through holes, and at the same time, when you are drilling, it will produce some dust or powder. So what he does is he mix with dust with saliva and apply right around the periphery. That is here. The same principle was used in tunnel boring machine also. Mark Brunel took this as an example to develop the tunnel boring machine. Tunnel boring machine has the same technique, drilling and application of sheets right round. Right? You can watch this video. This is a drilling bit, drilling tool or whatever, and this is the tail of it. This is the head and this is the tail of it. All gadgets are inside, and it drills and does the shielding at the same time. So it drills and conveyor belt takes the muck out. So the precast concrete segments are there and it will be fitted down to the periphery. So what is adapted at UMA also something similar to this, not exactly this, something similar to this. Right. I will skip this. You need creative thinking to develop something. You need creative thinking to demolish something. This is something about that. So in certain countries, after the buildings are so in certain countries, when the buildings serve their life period or lifetime, buildings are destroyed and removed and reconstructed. That is that process. So pay your attention to this. If you do what you have done, you will get what you have. Do things differently to have different outcome. Young engineers need to think differently. So I want you to think differently, different lines. Highway engineers can think of these. One brain teaser for you. What is the most non-matching letter here? A, D, B, Q. Non-matching letter? Yes? Some say A. Any more answers? Huh? X. You have 5 letters here. Non-matching letter is X, the big X. So think differently. Fifth wheel is something which was developed some time back, but it was not practiced. I don't think why. It's very interesting story.
Spare tire swings the rear end into the clear. Then he just retracts the spare, backs into the street, then away we go. It's handy for parking in inaccessible
fifth wheel driving. Creative things. Mahatma Gandhi says there are two types of people in this world. One category work hard, the other category gets credit from others' work. My father advised me to be in the first category because there's no fight among the working category. Fight is within the category who doesn't work but try to get the credit. Politicians work closely with the society. Engineers rarely deal with the society. Engineers are reluctant to work with politicians. Need a change. We have to earn our position. Position is not, not just offered to you. You have to earn the position. Politicians are popular than engineers. I was attending a lecture a few decades back. One politician, one famous politician came as the guest lecturer there. He made a speech. He said, what lacking in engineering, what lacking in engineers is human engineering. I was thinking at that time, it was true to some extent. We don't have human engineering aspect. We have to develop that. I have a few questions for you. How many in your neighborhood know that you are an engineer? In your locality, in your area, how many? Sometimes the next door man doesn't know you are an engineer. So how can you earn recognition then? How many in your organization know that you are an engineer? These are the questions you have to ask from yourself, ask from your heart. Try to answer those things. Then what you have to do is you have to wear a t-shirt, have a label saying that I am an engineer. If you don't earn that. So in the neighborhood, how do you get your recognition? How you are getting known as an engineer? What are the things you have to do? What do you think? Get involved in social activities. Get involved when there's engineering work going on. Get involved on your own, voluntarily. Give your advice. Try to help people. If there's a Praboda campaign, don't confine yourself to in-house. Go out. If there's road construction work going on, some water supply scheme going on, go and help. Give advice. Next question. What is the social activity you got involved in last 3 months? What is the social activity? Have you got involved in any social activity? Or you just came to office, went home, office home, office home? Is that all? So how do you get the recognition then? You may be providing indirect services, but indirect services won't get you recognition. Next question. What are the ISL activities you have involved in last 6 months? One activity, of course, you have been participating in this series of lectures. That is for your own benefit, right? Just to get through your B paper. If not for B paper, will you be here? Right. Contribute to your engineering knowledge. Share your knowledge with others. I think I have pointed out certain things earlier also. Make the society feel that you are wanted. Just sitting won't do. Then who's going to invite you for social activity? Anybody is coming to invite you? If the next door man doesn't know that you are an engineer, then if people in the neighborhood they don't know that you are an engineer, then who is going to come and invite you to do social work? So think about that. What you own, you are not paid for everything. You take it from me. Whatever you do, you are not paid always. You can avoid these things. Activities promoted by IESL. We have public lectures. In a month, we have about, nowadays of course, we have every other day like public lectures on varied topics. Engineering topics, non-engineering topics, very interesting lectures. Then we have memorial lectures. How many memorial lectures you have attended? So you ask from yourself. Educational programs, technical and field visits for the benefit of you all, the engineers, to make them to network, get to know each other, get to know people. But our participation has been very poor. Then we have competitions. How many competitions you have taken part? Engineering Excellence Award, that is for you. If you excel in your engineering, if you do something different, then you will be awarded. But unfortunately, people don't come forward. If you go through the guidelines of Engineering Excellence Award, there are two very good awards you can win. Chartered Engineer Award and Young Chartered Engineer Award. You all can apply and win. There's a questionnaire. There are four basic questions asked in those. In one of the questions will be, what are the social activities you have got involved? What are the services you have done to the society? So somehow I was able to win one of the awards last year. Chartered Engineer Excellence Award I was awarded because I had done some work. Then we have Techno Exhibition. Every year we have Techno Exhibition over a period of 3 days with engineering exhibits and activities of sectional committees. So we have in IESL we have seven sectional committees on different disciplines: electrical, civil, mechanical, agricultural, then building services, electronic, etc., etc. So we have 7 sectional committees. You can take part in these sectional committees and get involved in activities of IESL. It's a good opportunity. Then in building clinic, this is a concept Civil Engineering Sectional Committee developed to help the general public. Now, the one area where we go into the general public to help them in their house construction. This is a concept we have developed, and it is very successfully going on now. We started with techno exhibition. We had a stall consulting center at the techno exhibition. We started in 2010, and we have done it 5 times now. We are going to have it this time also. Then, in addition to that, we have taken it to village level, different parts of the country, with the help of sponsors, and thereby we have received a lot of responses from the general public. There, we try to help general public, take the engineers to their doorstep to help them. And very recently we formed a thing called music engineers. What I want to do is to develop music and engineers, develop the right brain. So I want to develop right brains in engineers. So that is the basic reason for starting this. Now some of the images of building clinic we had very recently. At various parts we were in Gaul, Maharagama, then Gampaha, then we are planning to go to Kurunegala, then Kandy, then Anuradhapura. So there are a lot of engineers supporting us. These are some of the images of the past events. So this is the symbol. This is the symbol of building clinic. This is one of the events. So it was very successful. A lot of senior engineers helped us to conduct this. Then we have at techno exhibition, techno seminars conducted by the Civil Engineering Sectional Committee to educate the general public on various issues, like starting from technical issues, non-technical issues, then how to conserve energy, then how to reduce the water bill, electricity bill kind of thing. Then we come to another important area. Do engineers smile? Do we smile? Smile is a very powerful tool. We don't smile much, but politicians smile a lot. Thereby, you can earn the hearts of the people. Keep smiling. Nowadays, you can see these kind of pictures very frequently because everybody is smiling. They are saying that you have to make at least three people smile each day. So try to achieve that. Doctor told an engineer to walk on grass. We are very good at creating things like this. Walk on grass. So we are good at mathematics. So I will give you one brain teaser. Fold a paper once. What will be its height? Fold a paper twice. What will be its height? Fold a paper 25 times. What will be its height? Can you imagine the size? Fold a paper 40 times. What will be its height? 25 times. What will be the height? This size? This size? A paper, A4 paper. When you fold it 25 times, what will be the height? You can't imagine. 25 folds, 10 kilometers high. Can you imagine? 40 folds up to the moon. What is the equation? T into 2 to the power n. How many of you are satisfied with the job you do? If not, why? Is it because of salary? The work you do? Recognition? Appreciation? Self-satisfaction? And what else? Find a reason. If not, why? There's a study done very recently in the industry, and it was found that most of the people leave jobs not because of salary. Only 10% leave jobs because of salary. 90% leave job because of other reasons. So you can't retain people by increase in salaries alone. So you have basically, if you want to develop a career, you have 3 lives: professional life, personal life, social life. Now your contributions in these 3 lives, if you put the percentage, what are the percentage, what are the numbers you get? Professional life, personal life, social life, just try to put numbers in all 3 areas. Maybe social life, maybe the least. Professional life, personal life, maybe say 50%. Professional life, social life will get the least naturally. So try to increase that. How to increase? I told you the reasons. I told you the areas where you can increase your social life. So have a balanced life. What is the secret of success? Right decisions. How do you make right decisions? Experience. How do you get experience? Wrong decisions. Falling down is not defeat. Defeat is when you refuse to get up. So be a creative person. Think differently. Think out of the box. Go into the society. Try to help others. Develop positive mindset. Think this way. If one can do it, I can do it. If no one can do it, I must do it. And don't think this way. If one can do it, let him do it. If no one can do it, how can I do it? So don't be like that. So Abdul Kalam again. If you salute your duty, you need not salute anybody. But if you pollute your duty, you have to salute everybody. So don't salute everybody. Think positive, share knowledge, develop teamwork, keep smiling. So finally, what I have to say is this: think positive, share knowledge, develop teamwork, and keep smiling. So one point I want to stress again, no one is going to invite you for social service. You have to volunteer yourself. Go out, help others, and be known in the vicinity that in this house there is an engineer living, he is very helpful. Try to earn that. Thank you very much for your patience. I have given my email address if you want to contact me or if you want to send any comments. That is that. Thank you very much and see you again. It's goodbye.